How's it going, Jack Attackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today, I am going to be ranking every James Cameron movie from the worst to the best. With the release of Avatar: The Way of Water, I thought now would be a good time to go over his very impressive filmography. Speaking of which, before we get into this ranking, I just want to briefly mention that James Cameron's a phenomenal director and is incredibly special. So special, in fact, that he has actually never made a bad movie. Well, at least in my opinion. I can't really say that about many directors, maybe Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino, but that's about it. I honestly like all of his films. Some I absolutely love, so just keep this in mind if I happen to rank one of your favorites a bit low, because that doesn't mean I hate the movie or anything. This is just a super tricky list to make because James Cameron makes quality films. So with that being said, this is going to be super controversial either way, so let's just get into my least favorite movie of his, starting off with my number 9 spot, which is Piranha II, The Spawning, or Flying Killers, whatever the actual subtitle is. This is definitely James Cameron's weakest movie. I actually don't expect this to come as a shock to anyone, though. Matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if some people don't even include this in their ranking. This was James Cameron's first feature film, and you can tell. However, I would be lying if I didn't say I had some fun with this movie. It's a little derivative of Jaws, and it has a lot of goofy moments in it for sure, but if you can just kind of turn your brain off, this movie really isn't that bad. I like it. It has surprisingly good music, and James Cameron's flair is noticeable, which is a good thing. Granted, I realistically would probably never rewatch this movie, just because I feel like this is worth watching only once. I mean, you honestly get everything out of this flick by seeing it one time. Not bad overall, but we can only go up from here, so buckle up for some cinema. At number 8, I have The Abyss. This movie feels at least a decade before its time. The production design is absolutely killer, and that is perhaps the most surprising thing about the film. I mean, for something that came out in 1989, it feels strangely modern. There's always a lot of passion put into James Cameron's movies, and you can definitely feel it in this one. You can just tell he's having so much fun. And there's also a lot of anxiety-inducing moments in this movie that keep you on the edge of your seat, and that's always fun. But my main complaint with the film is that the characters aren't too great. The two leads are fine, I suppose, but everyone else is sorta unlikable, if I'm being honest. Another negative I have with the film is that at some point during the second act, it loses its central focus and meanders a little bit. That's more of a nitpick, but I still feel like it's worth noting. Anyways, this is a solid flick at the end of the day, not something James Cameron should be ashamed of at all. At number 7, I have Aliens. Oh man, what can I say? This is a certified hood classic, and I'm sure many people would have this one higher on their list, and I would understand. It's really good, but in my opinion, far from James Cameron's best. Although I really admire what he was able to do with this film. You see, he took what Ridley Scott did in the first Alien and kind of flipped it on its head a little bit. Instead of this being a science fiction horror movie, this is more so a science fiction action movie, and the action is awesome, of course. There's so many exciting moments here. I just love the plot. I also love Ripley's character development. Not a huge fan of Newt, though, and I'm sorry, I know that's kind of sacrilegious to say, but I also think this movie drags on for too long. Admittedly, this could actually be said about a lot of James Cameron's movies, but I feel like it's just a tiny bit more noticeable in this film. Either way, though, this movie is a blast overall. I just like the films above this one a little more. At number 6, I have James Cameron's newest film, Avatar: The Way of Water. Hot take? Maybe. The first one's better, but I still enjoyed a fair amount of this movie. It was just so exciting to see more of this world and be introduced to all these new characters. To see a continuation of Jake Sully's story was just really damn cool and felt almost surreal because I had been waiting to watch this movie for such a long time. This film is gorgeous and whimsical. It has some surprisingly great violent action sequences. For the most part, I like Jake and Neytiri's children, although I do kind of wish for a movie with a 3-hour and 11-minute runtime we got to see more of Jake and Neytiri, or at least have them get more of a focus. That's not to say they're hardly in the movie or anything, because they definitely are in it, but I do just wish we saw a tiny bit more of them. Overall, though, a really ambitious movie, and one that I will be thinking about for quite some time. At number 5, I have True Lies. Yeah, I like this one more than Aliens. deal with it. To be fair, I kind of feel like the second half of this movie isn't quite as strong as the first, but oh well. This is a very fun film, and it's quite funny, too. Maybe James Cameron's funniest movie, actually. It has super exciting action, and that horse sequence is absolutely awesome, dude. It was so good. It's just nice to see something from James that isn't science fiction, even though I absolutely love the genre. This is a breath of fresh air. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis in this. Bill Paxton was also great. Just some good stuff in here overall. Dare I say James Cameron's most underrated film? I don't know. Let me know your thoughts on this movie. At number 4, I have The Terminator. Oh, look, another banger. Definitely an iconic piece of film history. You see, this movie has revolutionary practical effects and super fun action. The score is great. It's also incredibly quotable and funny at times with Arnold Schwarzenegger's purposeful, stiff acting. I love the character of Sarah Connor, and this is simply put, a cool movie. It's insanely hard not to like it. Also, how the hell is this only James Cameron's second feature film? That absolutely blows me away. However, with all this being said, I do in fact think these other films above this are better. At number 3, I have Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Oh yeah, this is the good stuff. I'm sure many people would claim this is James Cameron's best movie, and that would be completely valid. While it's not my number 1 favorite, I still really enjoy this film. It just takes what the first one did so well and pretty much improves upon every aspect. I feel like the effects look even better, the action's crazier and more exciting, the T-1000 is an awesome villain, and I just ultimately prefer seeing the Terminator as a good guy. And there's genuine emotion put into this movie. I honestly really love the relationship between John Connor and the Terminator in this, and thought it was pretty wholesome and cute at times. The ending is also extremely beautiful when the Terminator tells John he knows now why he cries. Man, that gets me choked up a little. This film actually has something important to say, and I think it executes it perfectly. Really great stuff, and this was without a doubt, it's some of James Cameron's best work. At number 2, though, I have Avatar. Yup, I like it. In this life, you either think Avatar is kind of cringe, boring, pointless, or amazing, wondrous, and imaginative, and I'm definitely the latter. The main criticism this film gets is the fact that it has a derivative story similar to that of Pocahontas or Dances with Wolves, but I honestly feel like that's a weak argument as to why one would hate this film, because there's still so many things to like. The world of Pandora is so damn gorgeous and interesting, the digital effects are stellar, and the science fiction elements that are cast into the story are fascinating to me. This film is without a doubt a much better science fiction movie overall than its second film, and that's probably why I like it more than Way of Water. Also, the score is absolutely fantastic, and this movie's just cool overall. Truth be told, I actually can understand why this film might not be for everyone, but I don't know. For me, at least, this movie does work, and I like it a lot. But at number 1, I have Titanic. I mean, this is the clear winner for me. James Cameron's magnum opus. Why? I don't know, I have a bunch of nostalgia when it comes to this movie for some reason. You guys have nostalgia for Terminator 2? Well, no, I have nostalgia for Titanic. Beat that. Probably because they taught me about the Titanic sinking in elementary school or something. I don't know. Anyways, on paper, this actually seems like a movie I wouldn't like. I typically hate romance, and, well, this is mostly a romance movie, but the romance is quite nice in this. This film's just iconic. It's such a spectacle. This movie has one of the best third acts in film history. James Cameron directs this film to perfection, and it's incredible. I know this movie has kind of been memed to death at this point with the music and whatnot. I even memed it in the intro, but Celine Dion's My Heart Will Go On is truly a magnificent song. It's a really beautiful film and tragic, and it's deserving of all the Oscars it won, in my opinion. And if you somehow haven't seen it by now, I definitely recommend you check it out. But yeah, that's the ranking. What are your thoughts on it? What did you agree with? What did you disagree with? And don't forget to let me know your ranking of all of James Cameron's movies down in the comments below. And if you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.